Good one.
You're
It's a pretty relevant one.
My segment.
You're stealing the Blindside from KB.
No, please endure this.
What is up, football fans, but most importantly, UFL fans? Welcome to, I don't even know the episodes anymore, Polar Opposites. What's up, guys? It's just Polar Opposites. There's no episode. This is a numberless episode. As always, not as always, because lately it hasn't been this. Last week we didn't even have an episode, but it's Ace, it's Webb, it's KB in the background. KB, say what's up.
What's up?
There you go. She's ready for it now. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to you, Webb. Both of our teams, they're out of the playoffs. We don't give an F anymore, and we're just having fun. We're just talking UFL, right? We're just having a good time. I mean, today we're going to talk about cutting players. It's great. But before we do any of that, what do we have to do, Webb?
Hit the music!
All right, so we're back today. We got a good episode for you. We're going to try and have some fun, and we're going to try to not drag it out for an hour and a half. We're just going to get in, get out, and enjoy ourselves. That sound good, Webb?
Oh, yeah, it sounds good. Before, I really haven't even asked you personally, like privately. How was your honeymoon? That was the last time we had an episode. You didn't have a honeymoon. Yeah.
My wife and I, we went to Costa Rica. It was beautiful. We spent half the time towards the center of the country in the rainforest, and then half the time on the beach. And it's a gorgeous country that is more humid than any place I've ever been in my life. And I lived in Florida. So that was tough. I was drenched in sweat almost the entire time, but it is so beautiful. The people, so nice. And, I got to hang out with my wife at a pool like every day. So that was a pretty cool time.
That's awesome, man. That's my favorite Central American Caribbean country that I've visited.
It's probably my favorite now too. I've only been to probably 2. No, that's not true. I've been to a couple. Yeah, no, but it's my favorite. And then my parents are going to Roatan, Honduras this week, just to get away. So we're just all over Central America. But now I'm back and we're talking football. I got to watch Houston lose to San Antonio in just the most brutal way while I was in Costa Rica. So that was cool. KB immediately texted me. She was like, "Don't let this ruin your second to last night in Costa Rica." And I was like, "I'm used to that, man. I'm used to that team losing."
I totally went into full fledged mama mode.
Yeah,
I didn't want it to ruin the. Yeah,
I was like, "I'm used to this team losing." I was still angry. I was angry at the way they lost, but I'm very used to this team losing. And then after this week in the press conference, talking to CJ, Nolan Henderson, and Justin Hall, I think they are also used to losing. They weren't that mad or unhappy. And I was like, this is cool. I get to enjoy this presser. So that was fun. But getting into business, KB, what is our first segment that we are doing?
We're going to go to a fan question.
Yes, let's do the fan question. Fan question is not a normal fan question. The fan question is a specific question that we are asking to our fans, and we want you to answer in our comments. So it's not you asking us a question, it's us asking you a question. You let us know your answer, but we'll tell our answers first. The question is going to be, who is your dream guest host on Polar Opposites? So if Webb or I go to Costa Rica or, live in Georgia and lose power and we can't be in the show, who would you love to see come in and fill in for one of us for a week? So my first answer is never going to happen. Well, my only answer is never going to happen, but it's an absolute dream of mine. And I'm trying to figure out ways to make this happen is I want the Joel Klatt. I love Joel Klatt so much that I worked him into a question I asked into a press conference. He was actually commentating on the game. I didn't even know because I was there, but I love Joel Klatt so much. I don't know of a better football mind right now. And even if the Roughnecks are losing, if he's the one commenting on the game, I just love listening to him talk about football and I still enjoy it. So Joel Klatt, if you're out there, if you somehow see this video, I would love to have you on my show. I would love to talk about the importance of spring football. I would love to talk about how you prepare, and I would love to do some football debates with you and see if I can keep up. So that would be amazing. He's my go-to. Joel Klatt. Webb, who is your go-to?
Before you move on to mine, Joel Klatt was my one of my top choices too.
Oh yeah,
he's an encyclopedia of football, and the difference between when he announces the game to the other people, and that's no disrespect to the ESPN people. I know they're very active on social media. He just is A1. It's I know a lot of people think like Tony Romo is annoying and all that, but I love listening to Tony Romo because he actually talks about the game and he knows ball. He might be, I don't know, Tim, and he might be all over the place when it comes to emotions, but his knowledge is it's a lot better than listening to some other guys. And Joe Klatt is the encyclopedia, and he remembers these guys from college, and that's outside of where they went to school. He remembers what they did at school. Yeah, he didn't read it off a score chart.
Yes, so. I love that. It's not just, he'll say he's a Memphis product, a University of Memphis product, or a University of Houston product, whatever he says. He says back at that university, the way they used him, and you can tell that he did his due diligence. I mean, I don't know how this dude finds time, because he seems like a great family man and dad. I don't know how he finds the time to spend time with his wife and children when he knows that much about football and prepares that hard. But Webb, who is your dream guest to fill in for moi if I was in another country or under the weather or so on, got in a car crash?
Well, after Joe Klatt, it's Owen Roberts.
That's a good. Who's Owen Roberts? Who is that?
My man Boogie. I think Boogie would be a perfect to argue football. He knows this league inside and out, just like Joe Klatt. He knows these guys personally. Mm-hmm. Teammates with a lot of them, had relationships with them through spring football. He knows their stories. I think he follows this league. He's been on other shows. He's been on our shows, and he follows this league. He actually knows this league. And the fact that he wants to do stuff like this and he wants to be in front of a TV screen once his playing days are done, I think he should be in the locker room right now. But when his playing days are done, I think he's a perfect fit to talk spring football, especially this generation, because like Troy Williams was his high school teammate, man. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Frank Ginda was his college teammate. Yeah. And then he created relationships with like Toby Johnson and stuff like that. And I just think he'd be a perfect fit for a show like this and should be in front of the camera anyway. So that's my shout out to Mr. Owen Roberts. And congratulations, Boogie. You're going to be a dad. So congratulations.
I did not. Congratulations, Boogie. Going to be a dad. Yeah. That's amazing. I think Boogie is a perfect choice, especially for a show like this, because he is well connected with the league, with the players. He's well connected with the people who cover the league, the fans like us. You know, we get to talk to Boogie. He interacts with us. He makes sure that we feel heard. And a lot of people don't even realize this. He almost did this show. He almost did a show just like this. We were going to possibly scrap Polar Opposites because there was a time when I was going to be making weekly trips to Dallas to produce a show for Boogie, professional grade on the UFL, before he unfortunately ended up being released by DC. So that we almost got to see what Ace and Boogie and possibly Webb, if you could have come down to Arlington, would have been like. And that'd have been really cool. But instead, we get to just live the dream every day together, brother. We get to do this. All right. But those are our dream guest co-hosts. So if one of us was under the weather, couldn't be on the show for whatever reason, those would be the people who would fill in. I would love, instead of looking at Webb's ever-changing facial hair length, I would be looking at Joel Klatt, and that would be insane. And instead of me, he would be looking at Boogie in probably some sweet North Face gear. So that'd be a great time.
Boogie, if you do see this, Celtics are winning the finals. Enjoy your Lakers. So move on to the game. All right?
Oh, dagger to his heart.
Love you, Boog.
Well, everybody knows that the Timberwolves are going to win the finals. I watched it last night in the Western Conference Finals. They came back. They won a game. They didn't get swept. And I think they're taking it. I think they're taking it all the way. They're going to do what nobody's ever done, come back from a 0-3 start to the Western Conference Finals and take it to the NBA Finals. That's what's happening.
Boston's waiting. So, but game picks.
Yes. KB, our next topic.
Let's talk about this week's game picks.
Let's talk about this week's game picks. All right, so a quick overview, and because I want to show the record, right now, I have come from behind. I am absolutely taking it. The champ is here. The champ is here. I am 19-9 on weeks that we have actually put our picks in or publicly released them, and Webb is 18-10. He says that he publicly released them another week and went 3-1. But
I'll share the tweet later.
In my head, I was 4-0 that week. So
in your head, I'm just saying. I'm just saying you're selectively choosing. You're selectively choosing when to enforce. Magically, if you do the math, 7 times 4 is 28. We're at 28 right now. There's 2 weeks missing. So I'm telling you that, there's 2 weeks missing. So I'm telling you, 1 week I went 3-1. I don't know what I did on the other. I don't even know if I released it. But at 1 week, when you were in Costa Rica next to volcanoes and beaches, I was making game picks and I was going 3-1. So, but you know what? The nice thing is, as you can see from this graphic, it is so beautiful every single time. We have all 8 logos up there. For the first time all year, we have all 8 logos.
Yes.
And I believe all 8 games can go either way. Or all 4 games can go either way. So
I do too. And so do the sports books. FBI Tugboat, our man, he sent us the lines earlier today. And I think the biggest odds against the team is like minus 125. Biggest one is an 8-point spread in the Stallions-Panthers game. And I think that's crazy, but possibly could make sense. But I'll talk about that when I'm explaining why I'm picking the Stallions, even though it hurts my soul. But yeah, I think the other games are all decided by 3 points or less. Yeah. They really do believe that this is going to be a slugfest. Possibly some teams are going to throw it all out there because we have the 4 playoff teams against each other and we have the 4 losers playing each other. So the losers are just throwing it all out there. Leave nothing behind. This is the last game.
Hold on.
We're losers.
You call it the losers, but there's a toilet bowl and then there's the purgatory bowl. Like, are you the best of the worst? And then there's the crap of the crap bowl game, and then obviously the XFL championship in theory, regular season championship, yes. And then Michigan has to win and somehow move an event from Detroit.
Yeah.
To get home field advantage because Command Centers always goes against the Stallions and they get home field in the playoffs.
What is it? It's like Wayne State University's graduation or something is taking place that day.
I have no idea what's going on. I just know the Stallions wrapped up home field advantage when the schedule came out because the league just fixes it. That's what the Command Center told me.
The U.S. Army Command Center. Yes. Yeah. But let's get into these game picks. So game 1. I'll go first. I'm picking the Stallions. Even though when I saw that line that it was an 8-point spread, I wanted to tell FBI Tugboat because I'm in the state of Texas and he is in Las Vegas. I wanted to say, hey, can you put money down on the Panthers to cover the spread for me? But then FBI Tugboat sent me in our Discord. Oops, my bad. In our Discord, FBI Tugboat sent me the injury report for the Michigan Panthers. And whoa, it's like almost their entire starting lineup did not participate in practice on Tuesday. So they're looking depleted. And I think that they might take this game since there literally is nothing to play for. I even asked Coach Nolan, Mike Nolan, about it in the press conference after they beat my Roughnecks. Like, how are you motivating these players? And I think this week, I don't know how you do. I don't think you want to. You want to rest your players. You want to go into the playoffs and have a full strength. Like, you don't want to put guys out there who are nursing injuries and make them play. So I think that the Stallions are going to win just because I think Michigan is going to hold everything against the chest and not show anything this week. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the opposite. I think Mike Nolan is playing possum here and kind of playing laid back and kind of like, giving days off and all this. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And Birmingham seems like there's a problem here. They struggled the last 2 weeks. If they played anyone outside of Curtis Johnson's Roughnecks, they would have lost that game. It's simple as that. They lost last week, and they're making dumb penalties. Adrian Martinez's numbers aren't as impressive as they were earlier on in the year. He runs around. He's a great running back. But if you can force him and you can put pressure on him as a passer, the sack leader plays for the Panthers, they can make Adrian Martinez make mistakes. And that's the reason why I think Skip knew a little bit more when he was switching quarterbacks and had an open competition for so long, because he saw a lot of these things, I think, already. Now, on the defensive side, Birmingham has kind of been stagnant. Yes, they didn't give up a ton of points, but San Antonio wasn't overly impressive the last couple weeks.
No,
I know Chase Garbers is back.
They only scored, 12 points or 16 points against the Gamblers? Not Gamblers, Roughnecks.
Yeah.
Miss them.
So, but I will say the defensive coordinator change is weird timing, because if he did not go with the team the last 2 weeks and was not calling the plays, then why do we have to make the change? Why do we have to publicly say this and get an event? Obviously, there's something going on there. And I don't know. No, I'm not close enough to that situation to tell you exactly what it is, but it seems like, hey, man, there's an issue here, because if he's having the same issue he had 2 weeks ago, and I know they're saying health, and I think sometimes that's a blanket for everything, then why did it take 2 weeks for him to leave on his own, right? Why everything I'm picking up, it's not 100% a health issue. So I think there's some smoke there that there could be some trouble in that locker room. And Skip is the best coach in the league. I'm not going to take that away. I know I argue for Bob Stoops because you took Skip that one argument we had early on in the season, but Skip is experienced and he'll be able to manage it. Do I think they're still my champion pick? They're still the team for me to pick for the championship. But I think they got to figure out some things. And I think this week you see a little Bryce Perkins action. I think they struggle a little bit and they figured it out. And I'm a big fan of Bryce Perkins. And I think Michigan wins in a close one. And then who knows in the playoffs. So that's my theory.
I too am a Bryce Perkins fan. After talking to him this week, that's a nice guy, man. And he was good. He came back and I thought maybe I was actually going to get to watch a Roughnecks win in person. And then he came in and he put that fire out real quick. So I can see both sides. Yeah, I agree. And I saw what Luke Miller posted something about Skip talking about John Chavis and why he left, that whole situation. I didn't watch it. I don't care about the Stallions that much. But he probably has an idea, and that probably would have helped me understand that situation a lot better if I had listened to it. But it is weird. Their defensive coordinator, who has been a huge part of their success this year, they keep talking about how he had success at the SEC level, how he is great at disguising blitzes, things like that. And now he's gone. And so will their defense be able to keep producing when it's a little bit more simplified, when it has somebody else, a defensive assistant calling the plays? So that is hard. And that's harder to overcome. But I do think that this week, with the injuries, and coming off of a loss, a big part is that the Stallions are coming off of a loss, and I don't think they want to do 2 losses going into the playoffs. I think that they know that their fans are a little petty, and their fans are a little yelly, and they don't want, if they watch Buck's show, like they don't want people to keep, they want people to be able to blame the refs, right? They don't want to be like, no, we actually do have problems. So whatever. But let's move on to the next show. So I went first, so you can go first this time because you picked the Battlehawks. Why'd you pick the Battlehawks, Webb?
Because I think AJ McCarron will come back, and I think AJ McCarron will have something to prove. I think this team losing last week, Manny Wilkins looked lost this week. I think once they got some game footage on him from this past half decade, because his last start was 6 years ago in college, and I don't know if you heard that on the announcement, the game against DC. 45 times. Yeah. He went to Arizona State, and he was a great teammate of Brandon Ayuk. And he's a Sun Devil, and he started 6 years ago. That's all they kept telling us.
He played for Herm Edwards, and yeah, it's awesome.
So I just feel like this is a get back game for St. Louis. I think San Antonio had their biggest win of the season. I think this game is close. I think this is the best game of the weekend. I think both teams are going to play out because there is no super crazy tiebreaker like Michigan has to win by 48 points to still not have home field advantage against Birmingham. Like there's something really to be played here. I think these teams match up great. I tend to think that AJ Smith struggles when the other team has seen them for the second time in the year. And he struggled against DC. Arlington wasn't super impressive, even though he went for the jugular. I just think this is a
pain.
This is a game that I think St. Louis can get, and I think this is a get right game for them. And I'm excited to see. I'm hoping they're getting healthy because I want a good playoff, especially on the XFL side. I just want a good playoff. The XFL side that had more wins than the USFL head to head. But so I just want. I want St. Louis to win this game. And I know Josh would be like, what the hell? Because I've been saying horns forward for about 4 weeks since DC's been out of it. But I hope St. Louis gets right. So that's
your belief in San Antonio is as weak as your Greedo. But Yeah, no, I could see it going either way this week. I think that both teams are going to play pretty aggressively. I think that San Antonio has a lot more to prove this week because the Battlehawks, they lost, but you can kind of blame it on AJ McCarron not playing, right? So they have an out. They have, okay, once we get that piece back, we'll be fine, and we can play the game that we know how we can play. Where San Antonio lost Chase Garbers super early in the year. They're getting him back now. We saw a decent half out of him last week. And otherwise, they were having a lot of offensive issues. Now they've lost Cody Latimer. Now there's a lot that they have to figure out and put together this week. So I think this is their test run for the playoffs where they need to prove not only to the fans, but to themselves that they can do it offensively and they can go in and beat St. Louis in their home stadium and then possibly have to do it again the next week. So that's my reasoning. And their defense is very good. People are not talking about San Antonio's defense enough. Their defense is very solid. Josh sent us the numbers about the amount of points scored against the Brahmas each game all season, and I don't even know if a team's broken 20 against them. They are playing stout football on the defensive side of the ball. Wade Phillips, his pants are high as the quality of play that he's getting from his defense. So, unblock me, Wade. But I'm going horns forward this week. That's what I'm doing.
This is the best game of the weekend.
This is easily the best game of the week. Easily. Number 2 is probably my game, and it's just to see who gets the first pick in a draft that probably doesn't really matter that much. So
we'll get there. Ace. We'll get there. It's the last game of the night.
We'll get there. All right, so we move on to our third game of the week, Webb. We have a rematch of the championship, a game that you liked the first outcome this season. I don't know if you're going to like this outcome. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to let you go first. I'm going to let you go first here because I want to hear, because all week on DC Defender Show and everything, like I hear a lot of pro DC talk around me. I center myself around.
That's crazy. I hear no pro DC talk anywhere that I go.
Well, it's your circle of friends. But I don't really hear a lot of Arlington. Like I really don't hear a lot of Arlington. And I would like to hear some pro Arlington.
Man, let's talk pro Arlington. Me and my boy at the Hellraisers podcast, Gabe, we're going to talk about it. Arlington is coming on. If their defense could have put together a decent season, not even a good season, a decent season, then Luis Perez would be the front runner for the MVP right now. Him and Sal Canella are connecting. They're looking fantastic, and they are just a very good offense. They can really put it together. Their passing game works. They can bring in Lindsey Scott Jr., and he can run the ball. He can throw the ball. Devion Smith has come on in the second half of the season, which was something that he wasn't doing the first time that they met the DC Defenders. I think that Arlington is getting it going. Arlington is the Houston Gamblers of season 1 of the USFL, where the Houston Gamblers at the end of the season were the people that you didn't want to play because suddenly everything was starting to click. And if it had been a longer season, maybe we could have made playoffs. But we were already out of the playoffs at that time. And I think that's what's happening to the Renegades, is that they are genuinely could go and compete with any of the teams in the playoffs right now, but they've been knocked out for 3 weeks, because they lost their first 6 games. I think they're playing a high level of football, at least on the offense. And I think the defense is playing a little bit better than they were early on. And I think you guys have degressed a lot. And then a lot of people have hope after last week when you beat the hands down worst team in the league by a lot. So I just don't see a lot happening. I think Greg Williams' defense is getting tired. They look tired. We're tired of it. I think you guys fall this week. What do you think? I do think it could be close. I think it's very close. If Jordan Ta'amu doesn't overthrow every ball, then you guys have a great chance. What do you think?
This is the blowout of the week. DC is going to roll and blow out. I guess it's only 12 points. I think my prediction was it's barely a 2-score game, and not really. But every other game is going to be super close. So that's why this is the blowout of the week. But so DC last week finally started to commit to the run. And me and Alex have talked all year that they have not committed to the run. Yes, I know Memphis is one of the worst defensive teams. And they faced a lot of running attempts because they're always down by a lot. Teams trying to close it out, right? And they're running. And they are a better run defense than Arlington. Arlington figures out a way to lose because they give up the lead. So some teams passing, right? The worst rush defense in the league belongs to the Arlington Renegades. And that's not going to change this week. Fred Kice will commit to the run. It gets Tiamu playing the RPO game because we all know RPO starts with run and then pass and then the option, right?
Okay.
Like that's how it is. They're going to commit to the run. They're going to have a running back that has more than 10 carries because they are, fun fact, 3-0 when they have a running back that has more than 10 carries.
Man, that's all it takes. That's crazy. That's all it takes.
No, but and my boy Bradley Moore is 2-1 when he's active. And it just brings another swag. And Bradley Moore, he's caught 100% of his targets, which we're talking about Jordan Tiamu, who's hovering around like 50%. I think Arlington can pass the ball a little bit. I just think DC's pass defense, you said they're getting tired, and I think that's a bunch of malarkey because DC's cornerbacks and safeties have gotten better. If you say anything, it's, hey, Davion Smith, that was your best point because they are the second worst rush defense in the league. And it's pretty bad because TJ Barnes is slow. And like the middle linebackers and defensive tackles, we can use Boogie Roberts. Hello, Greg. We could have used Boogie Roberts. We're missing a ton up the middle. So if Arlington's willing to commit to that, which I doubt they are because they love to throw the ball,
they've looked better at the run in the second half of the season.
Then I can hear the argument, but I just don't think Bob Soups is going to try to get Luis Perez this passing record, right? This
that would be cool.
Win the yardage leader because him and Jordan Tiamu, ironically, are neck and neck.
Jordan Tiamu always leads the league in yards. That doesn't matter. It's because he can't close games.
I'm saying this game is the purgatory game. This game doesn't mean anything for either team. It doesn't change our draft order. We already know where we are. Both of us do, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Because 2 wins out of the next game would go up to 1 and then 1. Yeah. So Arlington's drafting 3rd. We're drafting 4th. Like we know exactly where we are. So
all you got to do, the only thing you're playing for is respect.
Or Holland Ehlers. He was active last week. Do they start to give some time, or do you think he commits to lose? Okay, that's fine.
I think it's annoying that everybody's like, this guy has a podcast, and I really like him. He's good at quarterback. It's like, just because he has a podcast and you like him doesn't mean he's good.
I'm okay. Lindsey Scott. I don't care who it is. I'm just saying.
I want to see Lindsey Scott start a full game. I think that is exciting. He's their Nolan Henderson. I think it's a much more exciting game than we have seen everything that we are going to see from Luis Perez. He's great. He's a very good spring quarterback, but we have seen everything that Luis Perez can give us. And I think that right now, a better television product is to put in Lindsey Scott Jr. and let it be exciting. Let him run around. Let him, whip it the way he did back when he was, what was it? It's a nothing school. What is it? Liberty?
No, it was
Incarnate Word. There you go. Incarnate Word. All right. But we have one more game to talk about. You go first on this game, because I've talked about this team a lot this year, and tell me why we're going to lose. Why are we going to lose? There's a lot of reasons we could.
It's every time I pick against Houston, it's the same reason. I don't trust the coaching. I don't trust the decision making. I think you find a way to lose. I know everyone points to Arlington, and it's because they are fancier. They got Luis Perez. They pass the ball a lot. Everyone points to that. But if you really watch Houston, they find a way to lose in the third quarter. In the third quarter, a crucial drive. They're not losing last second, which might be frustrating on those people that only watch football on YouTube highlights. But if you watch the entire game, Houston finds ways like, hey, it's a 3rd and 1, and all of a sudden we got a false start on our left tackle, and now we're 3rd and 6, and now you're punting the next play, and guess what? They come down and go get a field goal, and now they're up by 3 right before half instead of you scoring. It just things like that, and I don't trust Houston. I think Houston's super talented. I love a lot of guys on the team. I actually like Nolan Henderson a lot. I don't trust the coaching. I don't trust the decision making. I know you can't really come after it a little bit on that subject, but I trust Memphis. I trust Memphis.
Time clock management makes me crazy.
Yeah. I pointed out, dude, we are the worst end of half team. It's brutal how bad we manage the game at the end of the half. And it sucks. Yeah, it's annoying. It's very annoying. The only reason I think that we're going to win this week is because Memphis is that bad. That's literally the only reason, is because Memphis is just bad. Their offensive line can't stop us. We actually do have a good defensive line. I think that we're going to look better on defense this week because Memphis is that bad on the offensive line. Their defense is just bad. And with Nolan in, I think he gives us a little more spark. And we were able to drive decently against the Panthers. And I think this team is worse. So I think that we can get ahead, and hopefully the bad clock management and decision making won't decide the game, because hopefully we can get ahead far enough the way that, DC did last week against Memphis. Like, it's hard to make a bad coaching decision like at a part of the game and lose it for the team when you're up by 18 points, So I'm just hoping that we can get up enough that it doesn't come down to that it doesn't come down to the decision making. That's honestly why. And I haven't picked Houston in weeks. Like, this is the first year that I've stopped picking for my team every week, where I'm like, no, we're going to lose, And so I have to believe that we can win this week, that we can win the toilet bowl, dude.
This is the reason why I think Memphis, because Memphis was the worst team throughout this year.
Yes.
But that first half in week one was, they looked like they looked like they were a very good team. Now, they haven't had a half like that. They have not had a half like that since week one. And now I just feel like with your coaching staff and with the things that happen as a Roughneck fan, they're going to put together a second half and squeak it out. So they will have one good half, one good first half in week one, and one good second half. And then all in between, Brandon and his ship have been sinking. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I could see it going either way. And honestly, in these college drafts, first pick, second pick, it really doesn't matter. The USFL college draft after season one, Coach Bob, the GM for the Gamblers at the time, he went into it with 10 names. I think it was like 20 names on his board, and they had 10 picks, so 10 rounds, and he got the first 10 names on his board because it's such a broad draft that you're looking at the entirety of college, but you're also trying to find fringe NFL guys in the process. And there's so many different ways to go about it that I think there wasn't a lot of overlap. It wasn't like anybody stole a pick from anybody else. It was, I want this guy and I'm going to go get him. So I don't care that much. I just want to have a winning season next year, man. That's all. I just want to have a winning team. I'm a Baylor fan. I'm a Vikings fan. I'm a Roughnecks fan. I watch bad football. That is what I get to watch. I get to not just get upset. It ruins my day, and I root for 3 teams that do it. And Baylor even ruined my day, and they're not in season because they release those crappy jerseys. So I have bad times, but I digress. We have a fun segment coming up. KB, what is our last segment of the night? Before the Blindside, of course.
We're going to talk about start, bench, and cut.
Yes. So if you are on football Twitter, if you are a football fan who uses social media, then you have seen the game where people who are impression farming and, just trying to get people to interact on social media on posts, they will post and they'll post 3 players and they'll say start, bench, cut. So you pick one of the names to that person is who you're going to start. Then another person, you're going to bench them. And then the third person you're going to cut. You have to decide. It's kind of like the F, Marry, Kill game that you used to play back when you were a child, but football related. So that's what we're going to do today. We are going to go through 2 rounds. So Webb and I are each going to come at each other with 2 sets of 3 names. Now, Webb, who do you want to go first?
I start, bench, cut. Kiava Tizzino, Donald Rutledge Jr., and Kyrie Woods. All guys are tackle machines. They don't create a lot of turnovers. They don't get a lot of sacks. They're sideline to sideline. They play different positions. I do understand that.
They do play different positions. You threw me off with that. I just pulled up my notes so I remember.
I'm surprised as well.
Different positions.
Skill set. Tizzino has 5 tackles for loss. Rutledge has 3. Woods has 3.
Yeah.
And they're not for a lot of yards. I think Tizzino's the only one that has to sack. Rutledge has a safety. there's tackle machines.
These
guys are box sideline to sideline, box to box,
and they're all highly rated by PFF, and probably the most consistent players on their defense, I would say.
Yeah.
But I would have to go start Kiaba Tazzino, bench. Dang, man. I would go bench Donald Rutledge Jr. and cut Kyrie Woods. And Kyrie Woods is mostly just because his defense has been so bad throughout the season that, getting a lot of tackles on a team that's always on defense is a little less impressive than Houston, whose offense has been just a little bit better and kept the defense off the field just a little bit more. So I would go start Kiaba Tazzino, bench Donald Rutledge Jr., and cut Kyrie Woods. But it's very close. I almost benched Kyrie and cut Donald Rutledge Jr., but I have to start Kiaba Tazzino. That dude should have been he should be defensive player of the year. He should be. And so you have to start him. He could have been defensive player of the year last year for the USFL season 2. And I think he just, he deserves his roses. This man deserves his flowers. So I'm going to give that to him. And fun fact for everybody, we don't know that we're going in blind. So this is kind of a pre-blindside where I don't know who you're saying and you don't know who I'm saying. When it's showing their faces and stuff pop up right now, I'm doing that in post. So I haven't even done that yet. But when this is posted, they'll be there. Okay, so mine for you, mine are both. Everybody is the same position. I'm not going off script like you did because that threw me off. That was kind of crazy. I didn't think about it.
The next one will be all position.
Okay.
I want to kind of get like tackle guys.
Okay. All right. So this one, I'm hoping it's hard for you. I really want to stump you. Sal Cannella, Briley Moore, and Cody Latimer. And injuries are not a factor. We are just talking Sal Cannella, Briley Moore, Cody Latimer. Go.
I hate you.
That's a hard one, right?
Oh, it's so hard.
No, I know exactly how I'm going with this, but I just want to
You'll catch flack.
Say that I hate you. I'll catch flack, and it is what it is. Based off the numbers this year in the last couple of years, Sal Cannella is number one.
Yes.
I don't think there is. He's done it. He did it in New Orleans. He did it in Arlington last year. He's the best tight end in the league. I don't care what the people down in Cow Country, in Central Texas, South Texas, whatever Texas it is, remember the Alamo, and remember that Sal Cannella. Yeah, and remember that Sal Cannella is the best tight end. That's what they need to learn.
All right.
Cody Latimer is number 2 based off of this year and probably last year. Briley came late, but I think it really depends on the system. I think Lattimore is more of a wide receiver. If you're going in a run game and you need a short tight end, like a guy that's just like a 5-yard out, Lattimore is a bigger weapon, but Briley Moore is a better player for your system. So I think Briley Moore fits better in DC than Lattimore would. But I would take Lattimore if I'm just starting a generic team, a Madden team.
Yeah,
he would be my bench, and Briley Moore would be my cut. And I hate you because Briley Moore is probably my favorite defender. Honestly, he's probably my favorite.
Wow, he's also my favorite defender.
Yeah.
I thought that your bias would make you bench Briley Moore. I am impressed because I genuinely thought that's what I thought this would be a little hard because I thought Briley Moore is going to. You're going to put him at bench, and everybody in the comments, if they did comment, if anybody even watches this show, they would say that you were being biased. All right. Interesting. That is impressive. Now, this last one, I needed help. Oh, we got a little message there. Okay, so I needed help, so I have to go into my text messages to make sure I remember who exactly I'm talking about.
Wait, don't I give you one now? Don't I give you one?
Oh, you're right. I just gave you one, but I'm still going to go sure and make sure. Okay, cool. Now, who is your second round for me?
I think this one's a little easier. Vito Victor.
Okay.
Ricky Pearson.
Okay.
And TJ Pleasure. All of them kind of average the same. All of them are within 80 yards of each other on total rushing yards. Some play for better teams than others. Some have had bigger moments than others. Some have been the main horse. Some have been kind of the second fiddle when the guy comes back from turf toe or a twisted ankle or whatever it was. I would like to know who you're going to start bench cut. It's tough because I want to know based off of for next year.
For next year?
A little bit on there. So I
that helps my point even better.
Okay. I want to know who you're going forward.
In typical web fashion, this is a hard question.
Yeah. And he warned me before that there was going to be a Houston player in each one. So I kind of expected something like this. I actually kind of expected almost this, not Ricky Person being a part of it, but I knew Vito would be in there. Part of me thought you would say Mark, but it's tough because I'm going to start. So when you're saying play second fiddle when the other person comes back from turf toe, are you talking about Ricky Person with CJ Marable?
No, I'm talking about TJ Pledger. He kind of like Mark Thompson was the guy. Let's be honest.
Yes, Mark Thompson's the guy. Like, he had the sprained knee.
They didn't fully trust him. I know he's got more yards, but like they didn't fully trust him.
Yeah.
Until recently. So like he's kind of had to play second fiddle.
I mean, he's still not even like. I don't think they had him listed as RB1 a single time this year. But I'm going to start Ricky Person Jr. That dude, especially if you're looking for next season, he's still fairly young. He runs as angry as I've ever seen a running back run the ball. It's crazy. And I think that he's a raw talent. That dude, they love the ESPN broadcast. They really do like to find one or two stories and then they just harp on them all game long. Did you know Cody Latimer used to be a wide receiver? Every time they cover Brahma's game, that's all you're going to hear. But Ricky Person, they said that he went into, I think it was like the Baltimore Ravens camp, and he didn't take it as seriously because he just acted like he was supposed to be there and that he didn't really need to work that hard. And it gave him a new perspective on the game and the amount of work that he had to put into it. And I think that really sounds true and looks true the way that he's playing. Ricky Person is a top running back in this league and going forward could be a top running back for another year or two because, running backs don't have the most longevity of any position in football. It's one of the shortest. But then I'm going to bench TJ Pledger. TJ showed me this year that he's pretty good. He's a decent third down back. He's got good hands. He's shifty and he's consistent. He doesn't really get hurt. And he's younger. That's the big thing. So I'm cutting Vito, and it's because his age is starting to show. And especially if you're talking about building a team next year, he's old. I think he's 30.
Oh.
He's old. For a running back, he is old. This year, he has not looked great. The fact that he is within 80 yards of TJ Pledger when TJ Pledger is not getting a lot of carries because Mark is back, and Vito gets a lot of carries because they keep trying to force the run game, and he's not able to break out. This year, he has had to get the ball in open space to be able to make something happen, to kind of be able to get his speed going and run through people. His age is just starting to show. So I'm cutting Vito. And that sucks because I like Vito a lot as a human being. And I've loved watching him the past 3 years. But going into next season, if those were the three that I had, I mean, I even think realistically, if you're a coach in the league, that's probably your start bench cut.
Wow. It's crazy. You talked about Vito's not there. He has the highest yard per carry out of three of these guys. He's at 3.5 yards per carry.
And he probably has a lot more rushes.
Yeah, but it's still average. So
I get that.
And Ricky Pearson has the 3.2. He's actually below TJ Pledger. So that's the reason why I kind of threw this, because I kind of knew you were going to go Pearson. I'm shocked by Vito being the cut one.
Yep.
Because if it's for my franchise, I'm going Vito, Pearson, cutting
Pledger. I could see that.
I'll take one more year of Vito, and then I'll figure it out after that year.
I don't know, man. After this year, I just don't know how much he's got left in the tank.
3.5 yards. He has the most rushing yards and the highest average out of these three running backs. So, but go ahead.
That's fair. Well, this last one that I'm going to ask you, this could be another one where you're going to probably rank them one way, and the stats might show another. I'm not totally sure, but I think possibly. So my three are going to be their edge rushers. So we're going to talk. The first one is Pita. I don't know how to say his last name.
Yep. Pita T.
Yes. The second one, DC defender, Roberson. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. And then number 3, see, this is why I needed to look in my phone, is going to be, what's his name? Scott for the Renegades. Nope, sorry, for the Brahmas. Yes, Scott for the Brahmas.
This is easy.
All right.
This is super easy. 1 Scott, 2 Roberson, 3 Pita.
You're cutting Pita?
Yeah, I think he's only effective maybe his help on the other side. Roberson is young. If we're talking franchise mode here, I think he's the younger side of 3. He's been in the NFL. He should be in the NFL. Scott is a dog, man. You talked about San Antonio's defense, and it starts with the edge rushing and pants around the nipples. Like that's where it starts with the San Antonio Brahmas.
What's his name? Delonte Scott, right? Delonte Scott?
Yeah.
And then what's Roberson's first name?
Derek.
And Derek Roberson and Pita Tiam Penu.
Yeah.
Tiam Penu. I don't know how to say it.
I'm not going to disrespect.
That's wild. So you're going Delonte Scott, Derek Roberson, and then you're starting Scott, benching Roberson, and you're cutting the reigning XFL defensive player of the year.
Okay.
Pita.
Do you know who the XFL defending offensive player of the year is?
Jordan Ta'amu.
Okay.
You would cut him no matter what quarterback I put against. I could be like, hold theirs. Hold theirs. Reed's in it. Jordan Ta'amu. You'd be like, cut Jordan.
If you watch DC Defending Show, I have the we joke all the time. I have the I love JT tattoo. Well, Alex does not. Old man Alex does not like.
He does not like JT.
I would take Scott. I think Scott is completely underrated. I don't think he's the best pass rusher in the game because that resides in Michigan with Breathing Speaks.
Yes.
Chris Odom is tremendous, but I think Scott is so effective in this. And then when you got guys like Tim Ward, which DC cut, I think Scott is a perfect fit for that. And if we're going with the same coaching staffs for next year and the future, judging this, Scott's perfect. Roberson fits DC system. I don't know about Pita T, man. Well, Pita also deals with injury a lot, and he's a lankier guy.
So just to explain it, I needed help because you were giving me USFL start bench cuts, and I was giving you XFL ones, and I don't know the XFL as well. So I went to Dustin and Josh over in the Brahma bullpen, and I was like, hey, I'm doing edge rushers. I'm going to start with Pita. Give me 2 more. And they told me to go with that. I was going to go with Malik Fisher because he's been your player of the week a few times.
You would have had a battle there. I started Malik Fisher. That one.
Yes. But Derek Roberson has better stats. And if you go by PFF grades, he has an 82 overall on the season, while Malik Fisher has a 63.4. But then, what was it? Delonte Scott has a 91 overall. He's one of the highest rated players in the league. And when I looked at it, I was like, what about, Wyatt? Because Wyatt has better numbers than Delonte Scott on that line. And they said, no, the only reason Wyatt has those numbers is because Scott is there. The other 2 are able to eat because the offense has to pay so much attention to Delonte Scott. So I thought that was an interesting thing. And you were all right on it. You literally did, other than Pita being, what? I mean, that's pretty much what I thought you were like.
Well, Robertson's numbers, PFF, are good. And you said Malik Fisher was much lower.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Robertson missed 3 games, and that Malik Fisher had 3 games where he didn't have a sack or anything. So kind of going back to the Scott thing, if you don't have that second guy, every guy gets affected. And I put on my fedora on my show because I'm still looking for Devin Bellamy. I haven't seen him really except 2 plays this year.
Dude, yeah. And then Pita, you're right. The rest of the line has to start going and penetrating so that he can get going. He's not one to really like break double teams. He's not that big of a dude. Like he really does need a little bit of help to free it up. And then he is fast and he is able to get his hands on you. But otherwise, he needs the help. Whereas Delonte Scott probably is the one that you could build a defensive line around. I like your answer. That was a good answer, man.
Thanks.
I'm impressed.
I have a bonus one that you're not ready for.
I wasn't ready for the first 2. I didn't even know the first 2.
No, No, but this one's actually this is actually a pretty relevant one.
This is a pretty relevant one. High segment.
You're stealing the blind side from KB.
No, please endure this. If you were Mike Nolan, start, bench, third string quarterback, cut. Brian Lewerke, EJ Perry, because the rumor is that he's getting healthy, Bryce Perkins, or Danny Etling. What would you do? And so that's the only reason why. This is actually relevant for the playoffs because I think Mike Nolan's going to have to make a decision on who he's going to cut.
I would start Bryce. Backup, I would have Danny Etling because I do think that he is he's the most put together quarterback. He made bad decisions this week and he looked bad. But I still think if you have Danny Etling as your QB2, you're doing well. So I think Bryce Perkins, Danny Etling, EJ Perry, cut Lewerke.
All right, so we're not that off. I have EJ Perry as the backup, Etling as the third.
That's fair. That's fair, but EJ's passing was brutal at the beginning of the season. Yeah. Outside of a couple big Marcus Sims runs that passes that weren't even as much EJ Perry. One of them was just Marcus Sims breaking 5 tackles against the Roughnecks and taking it for 76 yards. His passing numbers are not good outside of those. I don't like it. And then this late in the season, you have to be able to do your full offense fairly competent. You can't just run the ball all the time, So that's why I would say that. But now that we've gotten your blind side out of the way, this BS, I don't know what that is. We can go to KB's blind side.
All right. I think my format is going to be a little different than the way it usually is, but I'm going to start out by asking who you think should be Coach of the Year.
This is easy.
You go first.
Mike Nolan. No one expected them except Webb, who put them in the playoffs for them to be competitive. Everyone picked Memphis and Flip and all that. Flip should be the first coach fired. I'll go one step further for you, KB. And I think Mike Nolan, he's had 4 quarterbacks. We just talked about it on the show. 4 quarterbacks starting a game or playing pivotal moments in the game. They have gotten better as time has gone on. He rebuilt an offensive line that struggled last year. Breland Speaks is a dog. Their secondary, I think it's Mike Nolan. I think it should be Mike Nolan. If it's not Mike Nolan, it's because the league command center is controlling way too much.
I also want to say Mike Nolan. Once you said it, I was like, damn, I should have gone first. But outside of him, I would go with the man that we hate on this show, Wade Phillips. I would go with the waistband nipples himself.
I just talk about how
I'd go with the waistband nipples himself, Wade Phillips. Unblock me, Wade. I would go with him because to be able to do what he's done, where you had a successful team last year, you lose your team, you have to move. There's so many different moving pieces, a whole new fan base, all of that. And then to be able to come out and be just as successful, maybe it's a little less pretty, but they're finding ways to win. And it seems like he really does have that locker room tight knit and feeling him. So he would be my number 2. Mike Nolan is who I would pick and who they should pick. Mike Nolan, not only that, has also been going on shows and talking incredibly positively about the league and about how much he loves doing this. And he's a guy that people care about what he says, right? Tom Brady was at the Panthers game last year and he was talking to Mike Nolan before the game because Mike is a great football head, a great person in the league, like around the league, and was in the NFL, an influential guy with his suits on the sideline. He doesn't wear them anymore. It was way too hot in Houston. He would have died. But the fact that he's going out there and he's saying these great things about the league, there are people in the NFL, some coaches who are trying to find jobs right now that will want to come to this league because they hear Mike Nolan saying those things, because he is a person that they trust. And so I love what he's doing. I love what he's done with that team and the fact that they keep losing players. 4 different quarterbacks. Frank Ginda goes down. Wes Hills goes down. All these things, and they just keep taking it in stride and winning games. And that is very impressive. And a lot of that falls on the coaches. For people to truly buy into the next man mentality and be able to execute well when they haven't been playing all season, a lot of that does fall on coaching. And Mike's done a fantastic job.
All right. Well, as our brand ambassador, I receive all of the comments and that on our YouTube. And I hope I'm not stepping on Josh's toes, but somebody commented on his show and they said, here's the tweet. As a Stallions fan, I have to congratulate you on the win. I will say this too. I have been saying that if the Stallions went undefeated this year, then Coach Skip should be awarded Coach of the Year. However, if they lost a game, then Coach Wade should be Coach of the Year. He took a team that at the beginning of the season were ranked at the bottom, won the first 2 games, and a lot of people said it was a fluke or said they were lucky. And now he has beaten the team that was undefeated. No matter who is in the championship, I think Coach Wade deserves it now, hands down. So your
long comment. Wow.
Your reaction to that.
Wow. Cool. So I'll put it up here. Obviously, this is a Blindside. We don't know what's happening, but I'm going to add it in post here so that everybody can see the comment tweet that KB is talking about. No. I don't think so. Especially if the Panthers can go in and if they can beat the Stallions this week or in the playoffs. Either or. Then no. I think Mike Nolan should still win it. What do you think, Webb? That face says a lot. Yeah. This was you.
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah.
I just want to say that comment was from Strange C73 on YouTube.
Sweet. I will make sure that I put that up there when I show it later on when I add the comments. You said it was, who was it? Strange C?
Yeah, Strange C.
Cool. Well, thank you for commenting. We absolutely love when people comment on our shows. Obviously, we ask you to comment, and we ask a question specifically to get you to comment on the beginning of each of these episodes. So thank you so much, Strange C, for commenting. And I like what he's saying, what they are saying. I don't know, he, she, they. I don't know who you are. But I like what they're saying. But I just think Mike Nolan, man, that's not, and I also think it might be a bias where if you are an XFL bias person, you probably want Wade. If you are a USFL bias person, you probably want Mike Nolan. If you know ball, you want Mike Nolan. No, I'm just kidding. But but what do you think about the comment, Webb?
I think you have an argument, but what happens when the Panthers beat the Stallions this week? Like,
see, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I think the fact that they have 4 quarterbacks, I know San Antonio went through 2 and had
3 technically. Didn't they have Kevin Hogan came in for a half?
I know Josh is going to love this comment, but they have the best defense in the league, man.
Yeah.
Like Michigan's one of the better ones. I will agree with that, but San Antonio's got the best defense. I'm talking front 7 and the back.
Yeah, honestly, I know Stallions fans. Wade. Stallions fans want to say they have the best defense, but take away the first Memphis game. How do your stats look?
Yeah.
Not as good. Yeah. Like that first Memphis game, they got like 8 sacks. Like it padded their stats so hard. It's like playing in a Madden franchise and 1 week you get to play against the computer. And so you just go throw for like 500 yards and get tons of sacks. So it makes you look a lot better even if you're not doing that well in your league against real people. You know, way to go. You played the worst team I've seen in so long. You played the Memphis Showboats, you got 8 sacks, and now your stats are all padded. Yeah, the San Antonio is the best defense right now. Like pretty hands down. Michigan's a little hurt, a little beat up. I think they are still up there. It's not enough for me to say 1A, 1B. I think it is still 1-2, where it's going to be San Antonio and then Michigan. And yeah, if Michigan wins, Nolan should 100% get Coach of the Year. I don't know. Whatever. But Look at that. KB, brand ambassador, going and looking at our brand and pulling a question from there, making sure that we are keeping the fans, the commenters, the people who watch our shows and our ugly mugs up here. Thank you. That was a great question.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad to be back, man.
I am also. I'm
glad to be back too.
Yeah, it's been a hard year. It's been a hard year, and we kind of got a little down, and now we're back. It feels great.
But shout out to Tugboat and Eric. I didn't get to say this publicly, but for them to come in, a lot of Tugboat, especially like last week, or 2 weeks ago, where he was just like, "Yeah, I'll do it," and like he's on West Coast time,
and then he just hosted it. That was kind of impressive. Like he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it," and I'll host.
Yeah,
they were both fantastic.
Yeah, great guys, man. There's been a lot of change in the UFM. Over the years, we used to be not even the UFM. We were a different name. We've had a lot of change. The only real consistent parts have been us and Brandon. And we brought in some good people recently, and I really like what we got going on. The people are really what's making me, keep going. I can have winless teams, but I still want to keep doing this because of the people that I'm doing it with. So thank you guys for doing this with me.
I make this argument all the time. I'd rather be in your shoes than my shoes. I'd rather be a 1-10 team or 1-9 team instead of a 5-5. Like I'd rather be that because guess what? There's only one way to go
up,
right? So if you're going to waste your season, I'd rather be competing with the bottom than just sit there in purgatory. So
right below the playoffs.
Yeah,
this is a tough place to be. But I said we weren't going to go super long. It's been an hour, but that's okay.
Super long,
but that's fine. Right? But this has been a good episode. Thank you guys for watching.
Hanging out with me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us and hosting KB. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you like, what you didn't like, and we'll see you next time. Just do it. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the UFM United Football Media. If you like that, please make sure to like and subscribe. Also, if you want more videos, you can check them out on our channel over here. The best one for you is right here. And then if you like mine, the rest of my playlist is right here. Thank you guys, and I hope to see you next time.